You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Hello folks, I'm Edythe Richards, Myers-Briggs Master Practitioner and founder of atopcareer.com. Today's question comes from a woman I'll call Jackie, who asks, how can INFJs and ENFPs work together successfully? Before answering this question, I want to point out that my statements will be general and may not be specific to any one ENFP or INFJ type. We're all individuals with unique talents and life paths, some of which may or may not be explained by the Myers-Briggs type indicator. This is all meant to be descriptive and not prescriptive. With that said, there are some strengths and weaknesses that ENFP and INFJ types report more than others, and it's here where I'll begin. Let's look first at the ENFP strengths. The good things about ENFP types are, first and foremost, their creativity. Because ENFPs are all about connections, connecting people to resources, to each other, and to possibilities in general, they tend to be great at thinking out of the box and coming up with the most unique idea ever. They're going to be at their best when they're brainstorming these ideas with other creative people. ENFPs have exceptional insight into possibilities and connections that others often don't recognize. We therefore see many ENFP types in careers in the arts, as entrepreneurs in startups, or as creative problem solvers or marketers in a more corporate environment. As long as they're able to work with other creative and fun people who develop new and original approaches, ENFPs will likely be a joy to work with. Secondly, ENFPs tend to be great communicators with excellent people skills. ENFPs are very sociable creatures. They bring a zest to life that draws others towards them. They're like people magnets. They like to please others, and they're very adaptive to others' needs and wishes. They also have an infectious and energizing style that motivates their clients and coworkers and brings positive energy and affirmation to the workplace. Third is their authenticity. ENFPs value harmony and goodwill, and they'll go above and beyond to truly be helpful to someone. They value depth and authenticity in their close relationships, and they direct energy to creating and supporting open and honest communication. Of all of the 16 Myers-Briggs types, ENFPs are the types most motivated by doing work that aligns with their personal value system. This is most often expressed in humanitarian causes and or helping people develop as individuals. Now, all good things must come to an end, so let's take a look at areas where ENFP types can improve upon. First is details. ENFPs aren't naturally detail-oriented people. Spreadsheets, scheduling, too much data, or anything involving too many details, all of these can be very stressful for ENFP types. ENFPs are naturally big picture people, and it's not uncommon for them to miss important details that are huge red flags to other types. Another trouble spot for ENFPs is if they're alone too long. Working alone isn't going to make the best use of an ENFP's natural abilities. They are truly at their best when they can collaborate and help others. At the same time, ENFP types have a tendency to overextend themselves both socially and professionally. Many ENFPs, especially younger ones, have trouble saying no, and as a result neglect their own needs and fail to factor in reality. Lastly, ENFPs tend to ignore or avoid things that have already been done and also things that require routine maintenance. This is because they're so interested in possibilities and moving on to the next challenge. What may result is unfinished projects and a whole lot of disorganization or what looks like procrastination to other types. Now that we've had an overview of ENFP types, let's take a look at INFJ types. First, INFJs are creative and original. INFJs are fascinated by original ways of looking at the world and are inspired by innovation and the chance to solve problems in creative ways. Reading between the lines and making connections is their specialty. They're visionary with great imaginations and insights into the future and a keen understanding of how systems interrelate. This makes them excellent program and project managers. INFJ types are also very encouraging and supportive of others, especially in leading others towards positive change. They're genuinely interested in other people, listening to them, helping them, and honoring each person's unique qualities and seeing the best in people. To those whom the INFJ has a deep established connection with, they'll be loyal to a fault. Though they're generally quiet and soft-spoken, INFJs work tirelessly behind the scenes for the causes and people they believe in. Finally, perhaps most importantly, INFJs are strong-minded idealists. They tend to be people of great integrity, bound by their convictions, and committed to their ideas and visions, even in the face of resistance from others. They hold very deep convictions, most notably to humanitarian causes, and are very concerned about and committed to bettering humanity as a whole. Now, let's look at some areas where INFJ types may be able to improve upon. First, they tend to be perfectionists who are very hard on themselves, and they tend to have this belief that they are always right. While they're more apt to forgive others for minor offenses, when it comes to themselves, they believe they know better. A common source of stress for many INFJs is that their perfectionism may overrule their common sense, and this may prevent them from asking for help when they need it, believing that they are indeed capable of managing everything on their own. They can be extremely stubborn and as a result stay in careers or relationships when reality says they should just move on. Along these lines, INFJ types may also go to great lengths to avoid conflict or criticism, and this can happen if they focus too much on pleasing others. A lifelong struggle for many INFJs is trying to balance their own needs with those of others. Many INFJs feel guilty that the work they do doesn't provide enough impact on making the world a better place, for example. So if they hold on to their frustrations or anger too long, they can erupt in a rage and become unnaturally sarcastic or even physically ill. Being in the external world of extroversion can also be stressful for INFJ types. INFJs are extremely private people, and they may become so absorbed in their internal world that they're oblivious to the external world, including how they may be coming across to others. So let's take a look now at how these two types, ENFP and INFJ, can best work together. Though, as I mentioned, I'm not intending to be predictive here, there are many extraneous factors that can influence working relationships. I'm going to answer this based on my knowledge of these two types and the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Let's look at the similarities first. Both types are highly intuitive, out-of-the-box types who thrive on metaphors and abstract information. Both are feeling types, deeply committed to the causes and people they believe in, valuing harmony and good relationships. Both want work that's more than a paycheck. They both want to have fun at work, though as we've seen, the concept of fun is going to be different for each. If both types are mature and well-balanced, they can be an incredible support system for each other and bring out the best in each other. As far as the differences go, each of these types has something the other wants and/or admires. INFJ types will admire the ENFP's spontaneity, outgoing nature, and communication skills. They'll also appreciate the ENFP's way of drawing them out in social situations, for example, and for their optimistic view on life. ENFPs will typically not have problems approaching and interacting with strangers, and many are gifted speakers, which are areas where INFJs typically aren't comfortable. Above all, INFJs will appreciate the bubbly nature of ENFP types as well as their positivity and genuine friendliness. ENFP types are naturally involved in tons of different groups and hobbies, and they know tons of different people, and they tend to struggle with finding just one direction. Therefore, they'll appreciate the INFJ who is easily able to take all the pieces and make ideas a reality. ENFPs will be in awe of the INFJ ability to plan, to prioritize, and to organize. Another thing that may come as a surprise, ENFPs will not only appreciate the INFJ's calm demeanor, but their supportive nature and their reassurance. As outwardly confident as ENFPs may present to the world, inside they're not so sure of themselves, and having an INFJ to confide in and be themselves around is a very comforting thing. Any two people working together will have pitfalls, though, which may or may not have anything to do with the Myers-Briggs. I can think of two potential ones with the INFJ and ENFP types who are working together. The obvious one is energy style. ENFPs need external stimulation and collaboration, interaction with lots of different people, or else they get bored. This may cause the INFJ to feel insecure, like they're not exciting enough to keep the ENFP's attention. I think it's very important for each person to focus on the areas where their natural skills and abilities lie, but it's also important to have regular conversations where they can honestly talk and reassess where they are. Both ENFPs and INFJs will genuinely want to do their best and be supportive of each other, and that requires that both make the time to do so in an authentic and straightforward way. Another potential pitfall is their organization style and how they approach goals. ENFPs work best in bursts and spurts. So one day they may work for 10 hours straight and then not work at all for the next 3 days. And there's no pattern at all for this style because ENFPs hate routine. And this can be very confusing and frustrating to INFJs who are slow and steady in their progress, and they may feel like they're picking up the slack of the ENFP. INFJs may therefore wish the ENFP were more focused. INFJs are goal-oriented, while ENFPs are process-oriented. So while INFJs are likely to voice their opinions, ENFPs are likely to voice possibilities. INFJs may become frustrated by the seemingly endless possibilities that the ENFP generates, while the ENFP may become frustrated by the judgmental opinions given by the INFJ. As a strategy, the two can set aside a set amount of time to hash out goals with deadlines, not timelines. This will appeal to both the INFJ's need for closure as well as the ENFP's need to accomplish tasks in their own way. ENFPs will appreciate having someone organized to help them with project management, while INFJs will enjoy providing insight and encouragement into a person or cause they believe in. I hope this information was helpful to both ENFP and INFJ types who work together, and also for those INFJs and ENFPs who are in a relationship with each other.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.